Welcome. I'm Angela Hubbard. I am the Grants and Relationship Manager for Birth to 5 Illinois. I use she, her pronouns. Thank you for attending this webinar about the Birth to 5 Illinois planning grants to create new local early childhood collaborations. As I said, this session will be recorded and recordings will be shared on the Birth to 5 Illinois YouTube channel following tonight's event for anyone who was unable to attend. If you would like closed captioning, click on the CC/live transcript button at the bottom of your screen. This closed captioning is being provided by Zoom, so we apologize for any errors that may occur. In the meantime, our goals tonight are to provide an overview of the Birth to 5 Illinois planning grants, introduce the resources available to grantees from Community Systems Statewide Supports, and answer your questions. While the chat is open, we ask that all questions you would like to be read aloud and answered be submitted into the Q&A box. That's at the bottom of your screen. Take a second to familiarize yourself with that. You can also find the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. Once our initial presentations are over, we'll answer the questions dropped into the Q&A box and we'll allow for live questions. Please hold on raising your hand until the live question and answer part of the webinar. You'll also notice we'll be dropping links into the chat throughout the webinar so that you'll be able to reference the things we're talking about. All right, your hosts from Birth to 5 Illinois today are myself, Angela Hubbard. I'm the Grants and Relationship Manager. Again, I use she and her pronouns. Maggie Kohler is our communications manager, also uses she and her pronouns. And joining us is Grace Araya, Vice President of Community Impact from Illinois Action for Children and leader of Community Systems Statewide Supports, who also uses she and her pronouns. If you're joining us today, it is likely because you are interested in improving the systems of early care and education in your area through the creation of early childhood collaborations. If you have already visited our grants page, you'll know that you can find it at birth25il.com/grants. You'll be able to select planning grants to get to where you're trying to learn about information about the planning grants. You'll find the application, frequently asked questions, and any updates about that grant, this grant there. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, before we get started, let's make sure you are in the right place. The image on this slide comes directly from our frequently asked questions section of our grants page. Grants from Birth to 5 Illinois are not meant for individual childcare providers, homes, or centers. If you are seeking that type of funding, you may want to explore the Strengthen and Grow Childcare Grants opportunity. Birth to 5 Illinois does not administer that program, so we aren't able to answer questions about it, but it may be something that would interest you. The planning grant is for applicants seeking to establish new early childhood collaborations in areas of the state that don't currently have them. Some people may not be familiar with the term early childhood collaboration. Birth to 5 Illinois defines them as formalized groups of stakeholders working together to improve their local early childhood system. Some collaborations may have bylaws and standing meetings. Some may be 501c3s. Others are just like-minded community members working together to strengthen their early learning systems. If you're unfamiliar with early childhood collaborations, we encourage you to explore the resources available at partnerplanact.org. You can read through the collaboration directory to learn about the types of work early childhood collaborations do throughout the state. You will hear more from Grace Araya about these and other resources available from the Community Systems Statewide Supports CS3 team later in the webinar. Now we can get into the details of the Birth to 5 Illinois grants. We are calling these planning grants because they are meant to help establish new early childhood collaborations in areas of the state that don't currently have them. We will award up to $500,000 in total and expect the individual grants to be around $50,000 to $62,500. To be eligible for planning grants, an applicant must meet the following requirements. First, you have to be willing to establish a new early childhood collaboration representing a variety of stakeholders. Again, individual childcare homes and centers are not eligible for these grants. The collaboration may work at the local, county, multi-county, or regional level. You must be a legal entity. 501c3 status is not required. And the collaboration or its fiscal agent must be GATA certified, which means Grants Accountability and Transparency Act. You must be in good standing with the state of Illinois, and you must have a unique entity identifier. You can visit sam.gov to find information about the unique entity identifier. Please note, though, some applicants have mentioned that this step may take several weeks. Now for requirements. Grantees will report monthly on expenses and at 2 points in the grant cycle in a narrative format. The narrative reports will be submitted to Birth to 5 Illinois in February 2023 and May 2023. Here are some of the allowable expenses for the planning grants. This list is not meant to be exhaustive. It's just to provide a starting point. Collaborations could use grant funds for mileage reimbursement, for collaboration members to connect with more rural or remote service areas to assess their needs. You might use it for staffing, perhaps hiring a part or full-time coordinator for the collaboration. You could use the funds to convene stakeholders. You could also use the funds to rent meeting space. There are also some expenses that are not allowable with the grant funding. These include the purchase of food, gift cards. We know these are often used for family and caregiver incentives, and it's a hurdle that we encounter in our own work as well. Construction. These funds are not meant for building new centers, funding additional classrooms, adding teaching positions, etc. The planning grant application is available on the Birth to 5 Illinois grants page, and that link is available in the chat. SurveyMonkey will allow you to begin the application and complete it at another time. It is important to know that each time you click Next, the application will be saved up to that point. You will need to complete a full page to save the information you entered on that page. There's a budget template that can be found in the resources section of the grants webpage and linked in the application itself. To provide broad access to this funding, it was important to Birth to 5 Illinois that we use a platform that would allow the application to be completed in more than one sitting and on a variety of devices. If you run into trouble using the form, please contact us at grants@birth5il.com. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Grace to tell you about CS3.
Thanks, Angela. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Grace Araya, and I'm the Vice President of Community Impact at Illinois Action for Children. I will be talking to you about Community Systems Statewide Support, which is our statewide initiative that supports local collaborations. And so our goal is really to build the capacity of community collaborations, and we've also begun working with regions as well to improve the local and regional early childhood systems. And so we provide several supports. We distinguish it by calling one type of support foundational support, and the other is targeted support, but I'll start with the foundational. And this is available to all collaborations that exist or are looking to form. And so our Partner Plan Act website is a huge resource. There are lots of tools on there. There are trainings that you can watch. All our conferences are on there. We've had collaborations that have said that they've used all the resources on the website to help them get started when they were forming their collaboration. So it's a great resource for you. If you're not connected and you don't receive our e-newsletter, we encourage you to sign up for that. You can also do that on our website, and that will let you know about resources that are happening across our state around community systems development. We highlight different work that's happening across the state, and we also share tools and resources through that platform. You can also find trainings. Again, these are supports that are available to anyone. If you go on our events page, you will see all the trainings that we offer for the rest of the year. We have some trainings currently around parent engagement. We have some around systems work, systemic racism. And so we encourage you to visit that to learn about all the trainings that are available. We also put on a yearly conference. And so it's usually towards the end of the year in June, where folks that are working community systems development can come together and to learn from each other and be inspired by keynote speakers and generally be able to network and connect. We also provide on-demand learning, and I'll talk about that in just a second, but those are courses that you could take at your own pace around different topics around community systems development. And finally, we have an online peer learning community through WeConnect, where you are able to ask questions of your peers, you can share resources, and connect with others that are doing similar work. So we really encourage those of you that are looking to form a community collaboration. We recommend the course that is on effective governance. We have several courses, but the last bullet there that you see around effective governance for early childhood collaborations will be able to support you to think about what is your mission and your vision for coming together and forming a community collaboration. What would be the members' roles and responsibilities? It helps you to think about decision making. What's process will you be using to make decisions? And so it's a great starter to think about what your governance would look like. In addition to that, if you're new to community systems development, there's a course that explains this approach of working, of taking collective responsibility in the community for outcomes of children and families. And so that course is Community Systems Development. And then there are other courses as you're moving along in your journey, thinking about data is a huge central piece to this work, right? We want the data to guide what we decide to focus on. And there's also a course on parent engagement, as well as different community systems development strategies, such as shared intake and collaborative developmental screenings. So these are all free. They are also, you can receive Gateways credit for it, as well as the ISB, Illinois State Board of Education, professional development hours. And so again, you could start and come back to it. It's really there for you to be able to take it at your own pace. And then another type of support that we offer is called targeted supports. And these are for folks that would like individualized and tailored support where you would be working with a coach. And so we offer that in two different ways. One is to apply and be a part of our Partner Plan and Collaboration Institute. That's a year-long institute where you are focusing in on specific issues you want to work on in your community. The other type of targeted support is on-demand consultation. And so you may not have a year to dedicate, but you would like some hours towards a specific issue you're working on in your community, and you can request to receive consultation. A consultant will be assigned to you to work with you. And so as you're thinking about forming a community collaboration, a consultant can really come alongside you and help you to apply what you're learning in the modules, or just to help you think about where you might start. And so these are, again, all these resources are free and they're available to you. So we encourage you to take advantage of them. And then here, we just wanted to give you a sense of, if you were in our Partner Plan Act Collaboration Institute, what's our framework for how we approach this work. And really, you would go through a process of doing a community assessment, thinking about what is the one issue you're wanting to focus around and rally around. And then we lead you to think about doing a system scan. So looking at what are all the things that are keeping this problem in place, and doing a root cause analysis, followed by thinking about what's the strategy that you want to use to address the issue you identified. And finally, as you implement the strategy, thinking about how you could learn from what you are implementing. And so this just gives you a sense of the framework that we use when we approach this work. And before I hand it over to Angela, I will put my email in the chat so you can contact me directly if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can access on-demand learning and the consultation directly through our website.
Thank you, Grace. You can also find a link to the Community Systems Statewide Supports partnerplanact.org website on our grants page under resources. So there's a few ways to get to them. Here are some important links and dates for the planning grants. Visit the website to access the application and resource materials. The application deadline is December 1, 2022. Grants will be awarded in January of 2023, and the grant funds must be spent by June 30, 2023. All right, now we'll transition to the question and answer portion of the webinar. Grace will be able to respond to questions specifically related to the resources CS3 will provide. We'll give you a few moments to locate the raise hand button if you have questions, and we're going to start with some questions that already came into the Q&A box.
All right. Excuse me. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Maggie Kohler, she, her, our communications manager, and just popping in to facilitate some Q&A. So thanks to anyone who, again, went to the bottom of your screen and submitted a question thus far. We have a few we want to zing through. The first question is the grant available for early childhood community collaborations that are already in existence?
Sorry, just trying to find the different windows here. So this grant is not for collaborations that are already in existence. We already gave out grants that would have gone to those types of collaborations. Those were implementation grants, and you can see a list of the grantees we've given those out to on our website. These grants are for new collaborations. That doesn't have to mean there's nothing in existence in terms of people. It could be that there's someone meeting and it hasn't been a formalized collaboration created out of those meetings. And this is what we're trying to help people do with these funds.
Thank you, Angela. Second question, can you clarify those listed as all our kids networks as collaborations or not established collaborations?
Okay, so what I responded was that for the purpose of this grant, the All Our Kids networks are not eligible to be grantees, but they can serve as fiscal agents for a new collaboration. So they could accept the funds and administer them for a new collaboration. There was a follow-up question that said, and I don't see it here, but it said, are they not considered collaborations and able to receive the planning grants? I'm not sure I completely understood the question, but these grants are only to create new collaborations. So I think that would answer the question of that they would not be eligible to receive it, because if they are a collaboration, they cannot get it. Hopefully that answers the question. If not, if you want to come off mute and ask that, just raise your hand.
All right, I saw someone raise their hand, so I am gonna take them off mute. All right, Connie. I believe you can now unmute yourself to ask your question.
Hi, yes, I did. Yes. Angela, thank you so much for the attempt at clarifying my question on the AOKs. So I just wanted to make sure we have an early childhood consortium that is a group of interested individuals that do get together and meet in one of our counties. However, they're not listed as one of the collaborations that's listed on here, but the AOK network is. So I just didn't want to jump in with an application for the planning if that AOK network already was counted as that. And then the early childhood consortium, while they exist and they do great things and we get together and we meet every month, I want that, and they've agreed to partner and reach out into our other two counties. So I just want to make sure before I spend a lot of time on this that we would be eligible for applying at least, and then potentially receiving the funds to expand on the group that is already meeting.
Thank you so much for clarifying that, Connie. That gives a lot more context. So without knowing your specific situation and who the AOK network is serving and what capacity and what your consortium is doing, I would say yes, absolutely, please do apply. The reason that we do want to make sure that we're looking at who's being served is we don't want to duplicate or supplant anyone's work that's already being done at the collaboration level. But if in your instance, say for instance, there are needs that the community has that the AOK is not able to meet just because it's not their charge, there is the possibility that your potential collaboration could be funded to do that type of work in terms of systems improvement and systems level strategizing. So I think that it would be great for you to apply, and we can also continue the conversation through email if that's helpful.
Yes, very helpful. Yes.
Okay, great. And you can definitely reach me at the grants@birth-to-5il.com email. And we can kind of talk through more specifics, and anyone else who has specific questions like that about your context, feel free to do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, so looking back at the Q&A box, there are two questions from Laurel I'm going to ask together. So for PAASSS, we are not eligible for these funds, correct? I'm not sure what that acronym means exactly, but the follow-up question is, if we did not have a fiscal agent before and couldn't apply for the implementation grant, but now we do have a fiscal agent, what could we do? Will there be additional funding for the implementation grant at some point?
Okay. I am also not familiar with the acronym. Again, you're welcome to email me a more specific information about your context, but we can talk about that. At the moment, we do not have additional funds for implementation grants. I'm assuming, Laurel, and feel free to come off mute if it's easier for you. I'm assuming that means you have a collaboration in existence and are wondering if you're eligible for the planning grant. And in that case, no, you would not be.
All right, thank you, Angela. A question from Tom. We have a community group that has been discussing this collaboration, and our school system is part of that collaboration. Could the school apply on behalf of the partnership since they are all grant eligible, et cetera, already?
Yes, absolutely. There are some, again, all of these come with the caveat that there's a need for context, but there are definitely instances where the school could be the fiscal agent. The collaboration could exist outside of the school district and have decision-making power outside of the school district alone. And that could be a situation where you could start a new collaboration in that way.
All right, thank you. I'm going to take a live question from Amani. So you should now be able to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello, we can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Yes, and how are you today? I have a question. I'm a home child care provider. Is it for the? do you have-
No,
No.
these grants are not for home or center-based care. We know that that's a huge need. These just are not meant for those.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, great. I'm going to go back to the Q&A box for 1 second. Will there be grants available for new construction in the future?
Thank you, Lakita. I can only answer on behalf of Birth to 5 Illinois, and we will not have grants available for new construction.
All right, thank you. I am going to take a live question from Amy. Amy, you should be able to come off mute. Great.
There we go. So I apologize, I'm late, but if there's a collaboration in the county, can we still apply for it if what we are doing is more in depth for the birth to 5 area that we're in?
Without additional context, I'll say yes. And the reason I say that is because if there is a collaboration that is not serving the needs of who you'd like to serve, absolutely you may apply on behalf of that service area.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, going back to our Q&A, since the SAM.gov and GATA numbers take processing and establishing as an entity, is it possible to use a village's already established entity to create an early childhood collaboration within?
Thanks for that question. And yes, absolutely. We know that the all of the requirements, the SAM.gov, the GATA, the UEI, those all take time and also some familiarity with those systems. So that is the reason that we wanted to allow for fiscal agents. That is absolutely an allowable way to apply and using them as a fiscal agent.
All right, great. Thank you, Angela. The next question is sort of for me. Can you show the slide that shows where you can spend the funds? We're looking at starting a collaboration that would help programs take in referrals by purchasing an online referral software. So I will navigate us back.
Thank you. And while you do that, I'll jump in too to say that that slide will not show you all the ways you can use the funds. That is absolutely an allowable way to use the funds if that's something that you're thinking would be helpful in developing your collaboration.
All right, great. Another question from the box. Is there any?
Hold on,
Oh, go ahead.
Maggie?
Yeah.
We need to repeat that question, please, for Karari. I think it's in the answer. Can you see it? Let me
Yeah,
see.
awesome. No, got it. Thank you. All right. It said, can you show the slide that shows ways you can spend the funds? We are looking at starting a collaboration that would help programs take in referrals by purchasing an online referral store.
And I'll repeat that the response was that although it's not listed under allowable expenses, that is something that is an allowable expense if that's helpful in developing your collaboration.
Fantastic. All right. Is there any way to know if others are applying in our region, agreeing that duplication is something that we don't want to do?
That's an interesting question and one that we haven't really explored. What I'll say is there's no way for you to look that up. What you could do is email me at grants@birth-to-5il.com. And if there is someone that's in your area, I can contact them to see if they would like to be connected with you, and you can decide whether you'd like to apply together.
Fantastic. Question about future funding. So what does the funding look like going forward when a collaboration is successful past June?
That is an excellent question. I'll answer it with what we hope that looks like. We wanted these planning grants to provide a foundation for new collaborations, with the idea that hopefully in the coming year, we'll have additional funds available for implementation grants that then they could apply for. And someone asked earlier, are implementation grants on the horizon? I'll have to amend my answer to that. We are not giving them out, again, right now, but we do anticipate in the coming years, we'll have additional funding for implementation grants, which would be, post July 2023.
Thank you, Angela. Everyone on the call, we have reached the end of our Q&A box. So if anyone has an additional question, please feel free to type it into that section. Or if you have a question you would like Angela or Grace to answer live, again, please feel free to raise your hand and we will take you off of mute so you can ask your question.
We'll give you a little while to think.
All right, I'm going to take Amy off of mute.
Can you share this slideshow if we put our emails in, or is it on the Birth-to-5 website?
Great question. So as soon as we have this video downloaded, we will post the PowerPoint slides and the video to the grants, the planning grants page.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions? We'll give you one more minute. All right, well, thank you for joining us and for your thoughtful questions today. If you have any other questions, please email us at that grants@birth-to-5il.com email, or you can contact Grace Araya for questions specific to Community Systems Statewide Support at the email she provided. Here are a few more ways you can stay updated. You can subscribe to the Birth-to-5 Illinois email communications to stay in the loop. You can also connect with us on social media. Links to our social platforms can be found on the bottom of our website, as well as at the bottom of our email communications, in addition to the chat. We'd like to thank you for joining us. It's very exciting to see so many people interested in the grants, and we wish you the best of luck. Have a great evening.